Check 1 2. I was gonna have music going. I was gonna have music going, but the music wasn't playing. So don't know what that's about. I'm trying to minimize windows here. I'm getting things organized a little bit here. And hurry up and eat dinner real quick. Hurry up and eat dinner real quick, and we'll be starting soon, very shortly. I'm sorry. Let's just see. Let's just put on the camera. Camera. It's weird. It's not on the right spot. Camera. We don't need it to be completely straight. Starting soon. We are starting. Okay. What are we doing? We're streaming. We're streaming this figure drawing. I don't think there's anyone in the voice chat. That's fine. We'll go without. We'll go it alone. But yeah, we're doing the figure drawing today. I'm going to keep it up as a weekly thing, so if you're watching this on YouTube right now, enjoy! I'm just posting up links. Sorry. Oops, not that. Posting up links. Where's my figure? Line of action. Figure session. Oops. We're going to do only covered models. Both genders. I don't want to draw a baby. So adults and teens. Children? I guess so. We start with 1 minute poses. Start. Pause. Okay. We're paused. Okay. I know you can't see anything yet. Copy. Let's jump into it. I'm trying to share about. Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, my dog is bothering me. I know, you want me to give you a toy. Here, you want this? There you go. He's got his bone. Okay, I'm just trying to find the chat. Oops, don't play that. Stop it. Okay. We're on the live group. Live chat's open. Oops, minimize that. Quiet that down. Excuse me. I don't know why my audio capture wasn't working. Let me try and see if I can't. macOS audio capture. Okay. Desktop capture. macOS audio capture. macOS audio capture. Let's see, royalty-free jazz. Let's try this. Oh, it's working now. Okay. There should be some kind of light jazz in the background if you're watching on stream. All I can say is that this music sucks. This music is not good. Okay. We got people messaging me. Let's see. Man, this music's super loud. Turn down the music. We're starting soon, I swear. Let's see here. Someone's asking me about mentoring. Okay. Someone's asking me about mentoring, so, okay. If I can kill two birds with one stone, that'd be good. Let's just jump into it. Okay. Of course, the window maximizes. Okay, so welcome welcome to the weekly study group. We're doing figure drawing as we did last week. My name is Miguel Coronado. I'm an illustrator and concept artist living in London. Welcome to the group. I just want to let you know we do this every week, Tuesday nights. It's actually Tuesday during the day if you're in the U.S. But Tuesday evening we're doing a figure drawing session. Okay, transition it in. Boom, there we go. Okay. Okay, great. All right, so welcome, weekly study group. We're doing figure drawing. I've got a voice chat line open on Discord. If you are in the Dan Warren's Little Wigglies Discord, you can join us live in voice chat and hang out. We do this once a week, so I want to invite anyone who's in the Discord to come and join. Otherwise, I think today it's just we're going alone, so let's just do it. We'll call it like it is. Okay. Okay. I just got to respond to something. Oh, okay. We'll fit in the stream. I can answer any questions live. Hello, Death and Syntax. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm here streaming to answer questions and to have some fun figure drawing. So I'll be figure drawing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Let me try and... Managing these windows is hard because I only have 2 screens and I feel like I need an extra screen. How can I pop out the chat? Pop out chat. There we go. We're popping out chat. Chat's popped. That sounds weird. Let's not say that. Line of action. Figure drawing. We're doing 10 poses, a minute each. This should work. I'm going to do the first pose starting now. Should just select my tool first. Um, 10 poses, minute each. Some of the poses might repeat. I didn't have enough time to put together a playlist for this week, but that's something I said I was going to do last week. We're trying to do this every week. If you're part of Dan Warren's Discord, the Little Wigglies, you could join us in voice chat and hang out, chit chat, shoot the shit, as you will. Oh. Feel free to ask questions. I'm just going to be drawing and following along. If you're in the voice chat, if you pop in later, we'll chit chat. It's a good leg shape. Whenever you just draw like this, I feel like I really struggle with proportions specifically. Told not to worry about it during gesture. You think it's good advice? I mean, I think for gesture drawing, the only thing to worry about is proportions, because you're trying to get the gesture in. I feel like capturing the proportions is the fastest thing. I would say start with the body. Do like the torso first, because that's the main. It's the trunk, if you will. If this is a tree, you gotta start with the trunk. And then build the limbs off of that. And the gesture drawings for me are more of like a warm-up thing. There's very little times in your professional career that you'll need to draw this fast. Almost never. So you're really just trying to like minimize the communication from the eye to the hand as best you can. I recognize this person. You try and minimize communication with the eyes and the hand as much as possible. And you just capture, like, it's the gesture, right? So it's just about capturing the vibe of the pose, really. The form of gesture drawing I learned in school was to don't even look at the paper. We'll do that in the next one. We won't even look at the paper. We're just going to draw straight by looking at the model. I've been on this improvement streak. I'm trying to get better. Kick, not a streak. I've been on this improvement kick. I've been going to life drawing every week. And then we started this figure drawing weekly. Okay, here, I'm just going to look at the drawing. I'm going to look at the guy. I'm not going to look at the page even. You just kind of like... Okay, now I look at the page. So you do your initial pose, you try and lock in by looking at the looking at the model only. And then you just kind of scribble in the gesture as fast as possible without looking at the paper. It's almost like a silhouette thing. But for gesture, I feel like proportion is the only thing you should worry about. It's just capturing the proportions and the angles. That's what I try and do. Proportions and angles, because there's nothing much else you can capture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you the one that messaged me in Discord? If you have any questions, let me know. Because I can answer them now faster than I can respond in Discord. There's a big old piece of wood in front of him. It's kind of annoying. Let's just draw the wood. Up to now, you've been capturing the shapes and angles, but the proportion was tough without measuring. Yeah. Well, for gesture drawing, you don't really need to measure for gesture drawing because you don't have time to. Hello, what's up? No worries. Yeah, I think it's just me today. I'm chatting with someone that I think this person wanted to do a mentorship with me. I think. This might be a completely random person though, so maybe not. I've been opened up for mentorships for about a year now. I posted on Crimson Daggers about a year ago. And I was like, hey, I'm willing to do a mentorship. But every time someone messages me, they stop communicating. They don't follow through with it. And so I can't like force them to do the mentorship. So like I'm willing to give feedback and assignments and do whatever. But it's kind of up to the person to do the work. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's always hard with a follow-up like that.
I do my diligent. Like I try and I'll message them like a few times. I'll be like, hey, how's it going? You know, I kind of like follow up with them like, hey, like any updates? And then like they just won't respond to me. And I'm like, okay, I guess never mind. Like, are we not even friends anymore? Like, it's like, but it's just too, I think it's just too much for some people. They don't have time to do it. And I mean, I'm not like giving crazy assignments. I'm just basically trying to get them to do what they want.
True, but like it is that kind of weird belief a lot of people have that they'll go into the mentorship and you'll teach them, that secret technique that's going to make them crazy good.
Yeah. There's
A lot of people think mentorships are kind of like, no, now I teach you hidden jitsu, and now you can draw like no one else can.
yeah. I think like the person in chat's the one in the not in the stream chat. They're the one. They to answer your question, I do give out assignments, but I try and build the assignment based on what you want to do. So I ask lots of questions, and we try and figure out what's the thing you want to do, and then we build out the assignment that way. That's how I try to do it. But if people don't respond to me, then I'm like, well, I can't make you do it. So just gotta do it yourself. This is a good pose. I like this pose. How you been, Sharky?
All right. Still kicking it out yourself.
Yeah, same. I just got through with work, and my wife's at her D&D night, and then I'm just had a quick lasagna for dinner.
Nice.
I normally do every other Tuesday. I go to a therapy session, so I had my therapy session, but my therapist was like 30 minutes late, so I basically only had half a session. But he didn't charge me. He was like, "I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the train." I was like, "That's okay. Mental health is important, so it's good to go to therapy."
Very, very much so. It's like, it's okay. I'll still have problems next week, so
Yeah, I'll still be tortured.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of that. I watched that Louis Theroux documentary about the Manosphere.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't touched it yet, but I've heard from a few people that it's okay. Like it's not that great. So I'm kind of like, I might watch it. I might not. We'll see what happens.
I'm a big Louis Theroux fan. I enjoyed it. Um, I enjoyed it, but it kind of got me into this. Like now, I've been watching a bunch of different documentaries about it because I'm like, I want to learn more.
Yeah.
I want to learn more to like educate myself on like the signs. Like if I'm talking to someone who I suddenly realize like they're kind of into that world, I'd be like, oh, okay, like I know the warning signs.
Mm.
Because you just meet a bunch of people online, and sometimes you don't know what they're really into, and they start spouting out certain lingo, and you're like, oh, what's that word mean? And you find out they're all just
Yeah, like
part of it.
I've discovered certain lingo, and I've just been like, what the hell is with that?
Yeah.
Um, there's one YouTuber I watch. He does very, very, very good not documentaries. He does very good videos. Sometimes really, really long formats. It's called FP Signifier.
Oh, okay. I think I know
He
that
did a video.
person.
Yeah, I think he did a video about maybe 2 years ago. I think about inside the Manosphere as well. And he was the person I heard talking about Louis Theroux and the Manosphere documentary, saying like, he kind of went too light on these guys.
Yeah.
He pushed them too much. And I'm kind of like, okay, that's a bit of a shame. But he does great videos, and he does talk about it. And he just did a 4 hour video about Tyler Perry.
Oh yes, yes. I need to watch that. I like him. He does videos with a Super Eye Patch Wolf. Or he has a podcast with him, right?
No, 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 that's Wooly Versus.
That's Willie Versus. Am I just mixing up black guys? That's terrible.
Yeah. I won't say anything.
I'll admit it. But he's been
No, that's sorry, go ahead.
no the but Eye Patch Wolf has been on one of that guy's videos on the Signifier.
Yeah, he's been in one or two of his videos, and he's also been in one or two of iPatch's
Mm.
videos.
I'm just
Where it's kind of like opinion on something.
yeah.
But yeah, no, he did a great video about the Tyler Perry stuff, which you know, um, unfortunately, he brings up in like Tyler Perry did do a film with kind of I guess the Irish version of Nada, a woman called Mrs. Brown,
Mm.
and that's where he kind of comes up again. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we're guilty of that kind of character as well.
Yeah. Um, I'm just anyone watching that stream. I'm just queuing up the next poses. Next ones are 5 minutes. Um, 5 minute poses. If you're watching on YouTube, and then also Kyle Martin, hello. Looks maxing. I was watching a documentary on looks maxing yesterday, and bone smashing or bone like you like hammer your chin and your cheekbones in order to build up the bone structure. It's crazy. Uh, where's my chat? Oh wait, my chat disappeared. You know about looks maxing, Sharky?
I've only discovered it and the word mogging recently.
Mogging, yeah.
I'm still not sure what
Clavicle.
clavicle or clavicle or something like that. And he's this gentleman who is like a lux maxer, and I'm just kind of like, it's like, oh, okay, then like I look him up and it's like, this man's been arrested for drug abuse, and
Mm.
here's him high at this thing. I'm like, oh, okay, so I say the lux maxing is going well for him. And these guys were kind of like, oh, I put like a rubber ball in my mouth and I chew that like 60 times like a minute or something, and I get this insane jawline. I'm like,
Nuts.
dude, you look like a fucking Roblox character.
Yeah.
Your head's you're square now.
Um, Sorry, real quick for chat. We're doing 5 minutes, 5 minute poses. I think we'll do like 3 of these. I forgot the number last time, but we'll do like 3. Sorry, continue, Sharky.
Yeah, no, so that's all I've really heard. Like men who are doing certain things to make themselves kind of for that Giga Chad thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, like whatever makes you feel comfortable or happy, but it has, unfortunately, with most of these things, it's transformed into this is the way you look. And once again, it's just that whole manosphere thing that like if you don't look like this, you're a beta simp
Yeah.
girl thing. And I'm like, all right, like it's good to say like, hey, I'm doing this because I want to look better. I want to look like how I want to look, and if you want to do that too, that's good. But when they bring the whole thing, it's like if you don't do this, you're a weak man, and you'll get no women ever, and you'll be just die a loser. I'm like, Jesus Christ, calm down, lads. Your jawline's not going to change your entire life.
No, I think it's very much like the importance of people don't understand how much a good personality or like being really accomplished at something really makes you more attractive. Like there's you know all kinds of there's all kinds of like famous rappers that look really weird, but they're like you know they're considered very attractive because they just have a really good skill set and like they dress well, and like
Oh yeah, yeah. Who was I can't remember. There was an odd-looking country musician
oh
in
yeah,
the '80s or '90s, and he ended up. How did the guy? I think it was Julia Roberts or something like that. Well, this gentleman is a very odd-looking man. Like he's tall, he's lanky.
yeah.
Looks like they just draped some skin over some bone and put a hat on top. And it's like, yeah, well, like this guy had the confidence to do this, and there we go. Yeah, Lyle Lovett.
I love it.
Yeah, if you ever look at him, he is a very peculiar looking man, and yet he was able to, he married Julia Roberts during kind of the height of her careers in the '90s,
Yeah, I just realized your voice might be really quiet in the stream. Hold on a quick. Since you joined me, I'm gonna kill this stupid music I got in the background. Is this like Happy Birthday song is playing in my ear?
Oh, that's lovely. And happy birthday to if it is anyone's birthday.
Yes, if it is your birthday, happy birthday. But I do not
Come on,
want to.
you got to get those micro fractures.
Yeah,
She's like, what they're making like small breaks in their bones and
they're like
shifting them or something?
you. Oh no, wait. Oh no, never mind. Okay, I think this is. Okay, good. Oh wait, my pose wasn't on. Fuck. Sorry, everyone. I just realized I drew the pose without you seeing it. You hammer, do microfractures, and then your bone repairs itself and kind of builds up bone on top of the fractures, so it increases you do it in your cheeks or you do it in your chin to increase your chin size or your cheekbones to get you more chiseled features, literally chiseled, like
That sounds insane.
yeah.
Like that is just like insane. Like I want to, like I look, like not I'd love to, because that's a horrific thing to kind of look into or even think about. But like just the reports of like people like who've done this to themselves and have like gone too far and like broken their jaws or
Yeah.
fractured their cheeks or their orbital lobe or something like that. Be like, it's like, oh, I want more like a more defined cheekbone that pokes out, and they do that. Next, like they've broken their cheek and that connects to your eye socket. It's like, oh god, it just sounds insane. But like,
You
I guess
gotta
this
do
is
it.
just like what people go to do for it, I guess. But like, yeah,
You gotta do it, man. You know, this, you're not gonna look attractive.
yeah, man. Sometimes you just gotta be like, you know what? I was dealt this hand, and that's it.
That's
That's what I gotta work with, baby. That's all I got.
why you gotta just be. Yeah, it's a weird space. I'm in like watching this documentary. I'm fascinated by it. I'm like, it's such a weird. It's just weird because like the way it
Oh yeah,
put.
like 100%. Like it's a fascinating. I always say it's the car crash thing where you can't look away from it. Like it's like a car crash. You can't look away from it.
Yeah.
There's something in your head that says I have to look at that. And it's the same thing when you look at these like manosphere guys. Like it's like the Andrew Tates and
Oh yeah.
whoever. He's the only one I really know. I don't really know. I
No,
probably
I
do
don't know
know
you.
another guy. I just don't know he is one of these manosphere dudes.
Yeah.
Uh, um, so yeah, no, it's just crazy when it comes to stuff like that, and it's just like yeah. Now you just told me about the microfracturing. It's just kind of like it's like okay, cool,
Yeah. I was I watched one of the documentaries I watched. A guy went to Poland and got his legs extended.
Yeah,
Like he got his legs. They broke his legs, and then
mm,
they installed these rods, and they had this technique that makes your bone grow. And he went from like being 5'9" to 6 foot. Um,
I've seen that before. Like the whole leg extension thing to make yourself a little bit
I didn't
taller.
even think that was real. I didn't even realize they could do that. Like
Yeah, so it is real, and it is like I've seen like people go through it and like a documentary about it, um
the Channel
like it
Four,
was
is
just a
that
couple
the
years
one?
ago. Hmm?
The Channel 4 documentary. That's what I watched.
I think so. I'm not too certain. It was just I used to know a few people who are really into body modifications.
Oh wow. Okay.
From like tattoos to extreme to piercings to more extreme stuff. But also, and like a lot of people don't realize it. Like two of the guys were also bodybuilders, and that's also a form of body modifications as well.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of stuff to change the way that change your body to the way you want. Like some people get a tattoo or piercing. These guys or these people, guys or gals, spend years molding their body into this shape.
Yeah.
So a lot of those documentaries used to go around, and we used to watch them all, stuff like that. And that's where we saw like guys who were like breaking, breaking their arms or their legs to get them extended and stuff like that. And then they're kind of like, they're like, oh yeah, like you're going through a year of pain, like absolute agony, while your leg kind of regrows itself technically.
Yeah.
And then then they're like, yeah, you're good, but then it's kind of a thing. Your body's not used to this. You're gonna be walking around like a newborn deer, and it's like the doctor's like, this also can make your bones super brittle, so they can break just like that, no problem.
Yeah. I was wondering like, I'm like, will you ever be able to like fully like sprint again? Like if you
No, a
snap your
lot of them are
legs like
told
that?
no.
Like
And it always reminds me of that South Park episode where Kyle gets the surgery done.
oh.
Where yeah, Kyle he wants to be like like a 6 foot tall basketball player, so he gets the surgery done. And the first jump he takes, his knees explode.
I haven't watched South Park in a long time, but that sounds funny. That sounds really funny. How's your week been? How was your weekend?
It was all right. It was quiet.
Quiet, yeah.
It was a very very quiet weekend. Nothing really too exciting happens with me anymore. Uh, what about yourself?
My weekend, I don't think we did anything this weekend. We were like, oh
Well, you
no,
get a
Saturday
lot of.
I made a bunch of food.
That's good.
Did Mexican food night with some friends. So I made
Nice.
tortillas, beans, rice, carnitas, salsas, and we did a full on Mexican food for our British friends, and they loved it, which is
That's
good
good.
because I like cooking a lot, and that's like like Dan. I enjoy going all out with cooking, like when I have the
Hmm.
time to. Um,
I love Mexican food, but over here it can be weird to find a good Mexican place,
Yeah.
and it's also crazy expensive. Like there was, well, not was, there still is a place. It's called Boojum. It's a burrito place in town. There's a chain of them, and for what you used to get for it was like 7 8 quid, you get a burrito literally the size of your forearm, and now it's like 15 quid, and you may get a burrito that might fill you for one meal. You know?
Yeah. That I've noticed. There's a couple places that have some good Mexican food in London, but there's literally like a couple. Like that's like it, and then it's pretty expensive compared to like the quality of Mexican food you get back in like the U.S. Like in L.A.
Mm.
specifically or Texas, like Mexican food is really good and it's really affordable. Um, I would equate it to like Indian food in the UK, where like Indian food, there's like a bunch of Indian food places here that are pretty good and they're pretty affordable. And in the U.S. is, oh, this is a repeat pose. We're skipping this pose.
Mm.
Skipping. Okay. Um, yeah, I would equate it to that kind of like the Indian diaspora is really similar to the Mexican diaspora in the
Mm.
U.S. Um, but like in L.A., the best Mexican food in L.A. were just like the street vendors. You can go get street
Yep.
tacos and like it was super affordable and the food was super good and like it was like that was one. There was this taco place right outside of the gym we used to go to, and like they it was like they served like a al pastor, which is like the pork cooked on the vertical spick whatever
Mm.
the name. I forgot what the name is. I'm using the derogatory Mexican name on accident. Um, but it's like a kebab. It's like cooked like a kebab, but it's pork, which they would never
Yeah.
do with like a real kebab, right? Because they don't eat pigs. But it's like it's derived from the Lebanese immigrants in Mexico, and then they started cooking things vertically, and then the Mexicans did it with like pork, and it's like a famous dish now in Mexico.
Mm.
Um, but they had a al pastor stand right outside of the. I'm completely off in this drawing. They had an al pastor stand right outside of the gym, and my wife and I were done with the gym. We were there for like about an hour, and we're like, let's go get tacos. As
Mm.
soon as we're done.
Cause like yeah, we recently kind of got a Taco Bell over here, and I know saying like, oh, Taco Bell is an insult to like Mexican cooking, and for definite. But we finally got it over here, and it was kind of like, oh, let's give it a shot, and like we did, and it's like, all right, and like the whole thing, like that's supposed to be appealing about it. It's supposed to be like, in America, like Taco Bell is like really cheap,
Yeah,
so you can buy lots of it, and over here, but it's like over here, it was like, I think I got like a taco meal, which comes with like tacos, French fries, and a drink, and that costs like 12 quid.
French
I'm
fries.
like,
It's funny.
yeah.
I used to go to Taco Bell when I was like in high school and elementary school. My mom, we were getting Taco Bell one night back at home, and um, they gave us they messed up our order, and they gave us this bag, and it was like I think it was like a bag filled with like 10 tacos. We had like part of our order, and then it was like a bag, and I was like, what's this bag? And then I looked in, and I was like, whoa, there's like a ton of tacos in here. And then I was like, what happened? I was like, I think they gave us the wrong order. She's like, what? And I was like, no, but they gave us like a bag of free tacos. it was like a dozen tacos in here. This is great. And it's like, we just had those tacos, but I haven't had Taco Bell in so long. Last time I had Taco Bell, they had the cheesy gordita crunch. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's a
I think so.
taco.
Like there is a lot of Taco Bells in England, though. There is a lot in London.
It's a hard shell taco with the typical fillings, and then it's got a soft pita like. I wouldn't call it a tortilla. It's like more like a pita bread on the
Mm.
outside. So it's a hard shell with a soft shell, wrapped around it, and that's kind of how it works. Man, I drew this guy completely wrong. Um, it's
Yeah, you're
like
getting
a,
distracted with food talk, you know.
I know food
That's
tone.
my whole thing. Is like I'm making you a better artist by distracting you with random things while you're trying to draw, you know.
Yeah, I just realized I'm like, his torso is like not his torso's not blocked by his hand. Um, but yeah, talk about I haven't talked about it so long, and of course the Crunchwrap Supreme. I remember when they announced that for the first time. I had one. I was like, I want a Crunchwrap Supreme. I was like, super good, making me hungry. That's death
Yeah,
in syntax.
that lasagna you probably just didn't do you enough. That's it. You gotta get something else.
No, that was I was reading what death in syntax posted in chat.
Oh,
I'm full. I had lasagna. I made a bunch of tortillas. Um, I made tortillas for the Mexican food night, and then we gave like half of them to our friends and took some home. But I was like, I'm just gonna make a whole another batch because I want a whole batch to myself. So I made some more, and then this pose again. I don't want to do the same poses. I'm gonna skip this one. Actually, wait. Hold on. One, two. I said I was gonna do 3 5-minute poses. We're moving on. Moving on to a 10-minute pose. 10-minute? Should we just do 20? What time is this? 8? Let's do 20 minutes. Seconds. 20-minute pose. Okay. Starting now. Death and syntax. Oh, really? The back of a person in a wheelchair? Okay, you go that one. We figure out assignments together. When you're asking about the mentorship, we'll figure out assignments together. And ideally, you pick out something you want to work on, and I kind of guide you through it the way that we kind of break it down the way I would do it at work. So that's kind of how we do things.
so you kind of cater your mentorship around the person and what they're looking for, rather than having like a general mentorship plan. Like it's like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to do character design, or hey, I'm gonna run you through illustration. It's like, hey, what are you interested in, and then you work on that with them.
Yeah, so what I normally do, the first thing I do is I ask them, like, can I see what your work looks like currently? Let me see what you currently are doing. And it lets me see where they're at, and then it also lets me see, like, if they even have anything. Like, if it's someone completely new and they don't even have anything, then it's like, okay, are they really going to be serious about this? Or, it's kind of hard to gauge. But if they've already got some stuff started, I'm like, okay, well, at least they have something, like they've started on their own, which is a good sign. Because I think some people, they're like, well, I want to get into art, and they immediately go, I want to, like, do a mentorship or do a class, and that's a good way to start. But, like, sometimes I think, like, they put too much on the class itself rather than the...
Yeah, that could be very understandable.
Yeah.
Once again, I think a lot of people walk into mentorships not quite knowing what exactly they're looking for, or what exactly, like, they think, like, so let's say, like, with you, they're like, hey, I'll do this mentorship, and like a week later, I'll be drawing, or like not a week later, like in a month I'll be drawing like them, and I'll be getting work doing this, and then that'd be it, when in reality it's kind of like it's furthest from it. I know, like, if people doing mentorships usually adapt to that person's style a little bit, but like,
Yeah.
it's just it's a little insane what people think they are getting in return from what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. I mean, I'll do paint overs and, like, feedback sessions and paint overs, but I try not to I don't do, like, a tutorial. Like, I'm not breaking down how I draw, because I don't know if that's really helpful for somebody. You can attempt to draw like me, but I don't have I don't have some crazy style that I feel like I should teach. Like, I'm not like, oh, you should learn how I do things, because I'm kind of like, figuring things out still on my own. So I'm like, I kind of follow I follow like styles from other artists still, and like the only reason my stuff looks different is because I'm not them.
Mm.
Like I kind of follow Dave's. Um, I kind of follow Dave's like way he does things. I just don't use the same brushes or the same programs. Like I try and
Yeah.
sketch out, and then I do like a value drawing, and then I do color overlays and build the color up. That's how I normally work. But I don't do anything in Krita. I just don't want to learn a new program like that. I certainly don't know how to use that Chrome brush. I've tried, and I'm like, this is really hard to use. And I was like, and even if I learn how to use the Chrome brush, I don't want to like learn to use a brush that a bunch of other people are using. Um,
Yeah, no,
because
that's
yeah,
understandable. Yeah.
I'm just like, there's no. I'd rather apply the principles that I'm learning to my own thing, and then that's how I would. That's how I normally try and do things.
Mm.
Um,
But like the idea with that is like you take what you can from them, like maybe like the tech, not the techniques, but like oh maybe a little bit of the techniques, or like you can take what from them and adapt them into your styling and your kind of way of doing things,
yeah,
you know.
I think that's the better way to do it because I took the Anthony Jones mentorship about 10 years ago,
Mm.
and he gives a bunch of demos in his class, and like you can follow along with the demos, and like he has a specific way that he paints that is very much his look, you know, his Anthony Jones look. And I really like Anthony Jones, and like, but I noticed the people that were really following his process, they just looked like shittier versions of Anthony Jones. Like they just looked like people that were trying to
Mm.
be Anthony Jones, but not as good as Anthony Jones because he's already, you know, he's got like what a decade ahead of them, or at that time he had like 10 years ahead of them, um, which at this point he's got like 20 years on them. And it's just like you're not gonna be able to adopt someone's style who has that much experience and just naturally pick it up like
Yeah.
right off the bat. You're just gonna look like a worse version of them, which is it's not a bad thing, but like I'd rather look like a unique version of
You wanted to
myself.
have your flair on it,
Yeah,
you know. You wanted to have your particular taste of things on it instead of just like it's this person, but like it's that weird uncanny valley art where it looks like their art but doesn't.
yeah. I like one of the things when I was doing the mentorship is Anthony Jones paints with like tone. He paints with like swaths of tone, and he rarely
Mm.
uses line. He uses like he fills in like areas of tone, and then like he kind of paints the shape and the value of the shape all at the same time. That's why he's so fast. He'll just like block in the shape, and he starts blocking the shadows, and he starts blocking in like everything really quickly. Um, but I was like, I have a lot easier time doing line art where I just draw everything in line, and
Mm.
that's kind of how I grew up drawing. And when I was in his mentorship, he was like, "Oh well," he was like, "Your line art looks really cool, man." He was like, "Just do that," and I was like, "Okay." So like I was like, I'm not
Okay.
gonna bother trying to copy his style because I already have like my own thing I'm doing, and like it's also something I understood line art better. Like I understand like defining the form with contours, and like it's just easier for me, and like it breaks things down. You know, you think about one thing at a time. Think about just the line art, and you think about just the shadows, and you think about just the color, like one thing at a time that way. And so that's kind of what I did, and like I still do that. Like I do line art normally, and I really try and get some tight line art before I start painting because I've tried just painting straight up, like going straight into the painting, but I always end up wasting time because I don't even know what I'm drawing. I'm like noodling around. It's fun, like it's fun to noodle around, but like if you need to actually get something done, it's like you're just wasting a bunch of time trying to figure out what you're doing. It's
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. It's always the thing of being careful, and like I think that's something I'm not sure. I've never been through a mentorship or gone through, but like teaching time management and stuff like that is also heavily important. You know.
Yeah, I think from my experience, like noodling around and having fun carving out shapes and painting like
Hmm.
that way, like that's fun if you just like you have nothing else to do and you want to just have some fun and paint and like you don't really know what you're gonna draw and you kind of just want to like figure things out. Like that's really good thing to do. Is like just noodle around and carve out shapes and stuff. But if you have like a job and you're like, I've been hired to do this thing and I got to get it done at this deadline and I have this much money they're paying me and they need it by then, like you don't really. You could always do the noodling thing, but like you're just eating up time and wasting money. And like it's
Yeah.
just better to like just draw it out, figure out exactly what you're doing, get it locked in, get it approved, and then paint it. And paint it in like very strategically, like paint it in stages, like flat color, shadows, render, done. And like break it into steps because you want your art director or your client to understand exactly what you're doing with each step and like you don't want any confusion. You don't want you don't want them to be surprised and like I've done a little bit of art directing for board games and like
Yeah, you're saying that you've been picking that up there lately. That like people have been reaching out to you for help on these certain things.
yeah,
Uh,
I do art direction for I'm doing art direction for a board game and a an RPG book right now, but it's like small situation where
oh
the
yeah, well,
clients are just pulling together money from their pockets.
yeah, but you know, it's always got to start somewhere. You
Yeah,
know. But no, that's it's also like it's just like another kind of good feather to have in your cap when it comes to stuff like that. You know.
yeah,
Um, where you're kind of saying, oh, I have this as well, experience as well. So like later on you can kind of show that to other people and kind of get more charge of certain things, or even get access to even bigger projects, I say, or something like that.
yeah.
Uh, but you were also saying that like just in one or two things there you were talking about, I think it's interesting because recently you also mentioned that like you think you should kind of do a class on how to deal between clients and like artists
Oh
and how
yeah, yeah.
they
The
should talk to each other. And I think that's also kind of an important thing because it
yeah,
is a thing where it is just sadly a case where like they just don't know how to really communicate well with each other, or even like how to communicate, maybe an artist to communicate with an abrupt, or maybe just a very casual uh, a very casual kind of client, you know.
yeah. I because of my art direction stuff I was doing, I kind of saw like I got some experience. Sorry, to answer the chat real quick. Would you say process is about the same every time you do work for a client? I would say yes. I don't. I never do anything brand new when I'm doing client work because that's the last thing I want to do is like introduce a new process and then like let's say I royally fuck it up and then I'd just be wasting a bunch of time having to redo everything. So I always do the same process for a client. I do new processes for my personal work just to like practice. I kind of do Dave Rapose's system where he'll experiment with personal pieces and he applies what he learns onto the client work. Um, what I was talking to you about, Sharky, was the how to be a professional video that I want to do or the class we want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just like I got experience doing some of the art direction stuff, so I kind of got like experience seeing the other side of the coin, where I was like trying to find artists, and I was trying to hire these artists for this small job that I was working on, and it was just hard to get people to. It was hard for people that were like, I want to work on this. Lots of people didn't have like their email available for me to contact them. They were like, "Oh, I'd like to do it," and then I was like, "Well, I can't find your email." And then a lot of people they don't have their actual name on their website. Like it's just like they have their username But like the actual like when you're working professionally, you need people to understand who you are, like literally, not just like, oh, I'm Deathburger. That's actually a real guy. But like you know, you don't want that to be the only name people know. People need to understand like how to like pay you properly. They need your legal name. They
Yeah.
kind of need to know who they're getting into to bed with. You know, like who is this guy I'm hiring? Like it's not just like I'm Mike086, so my username is not too crazy because obviously I'm probably named Mike. But
Yeah.
I always use my legal name on my website, and my legal name is present on my Instagram and stuff. I want people to understand who I am if they're going to hire me. And I said I want people to hire me for work, so I'm not keeping everything a secret. And lots of these online art communities, people are like just strictly using usernames. Lots of people do like private commissions for small time clients, and they don't really care about usernames there. Like if it's like if I'm a guy who wants like a D&D character and I find you on Instagram, I'll just pay you like I'll just pay Sharky to make me a commission on Instagram and that's it. Like I don't really worry about who you are because I just want a commission. But if I'm
Mm.
like a board game company and I see Sharky's work online, I'm like, oh, this guy's got sick work. Who is this guy? Like the moment there's that immediate moment where they're gonna be like, who is this person? I want to hire them, and they start looking up who you are really. And then if it's hard for them to understand who you are or where to contact you, then you lose the work because like it just gets annoying when you're trying to look through a bunch of artist stuff. You're like, oh, well, I don't want to bother looking through this person's work because it's really hard to find how to even contact them. So why bother? Because everyone else, it's easy to contact. And so like, why would I try and unless it's someone you really, really want to do the work with, like someone amazing. Like if it was someone amazing like that, then I think that's different. You know, like you'll make the effort to find out
Yeah.
who they
Let's
are.
go
But
in the case of like Deathburger, who is
yeah,
a stand,
a real guy.
like fans like Metallica have reached out to him to do posters for gigs, so it's kind of like, yeah, that guy's kind of got it going.
Yeah,
Um, but you know, it is understandable, and it is unfortunately sometimes like Sharky is actually my real name, but a lot of people think it's like
that's really funny.
yeah, a lot of people think it's a nickname. They're like, oh, but what's your real name? It's like, you know, that's it, and I usually have them show like ID and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I was just finding it hard. Like I messaged people on the Discord and I was like, hey, like there's a job that I need people for. Um, Basically what happened was I had a big board game job and it was like hundreds of assets and I had to work on this board game job and I had already signed on to the board game job back in November. And my client, one of my smaller clients, was like, hey, I really want to do a board game myself. And he was like, can you do all the artwork for it? And I was like, I can't. Like, I would love to. I would love to do all the artwork for it, but I'm so busy with this other job that I can't devote the time for it. But I was like, but if we break up your project into smaller jobs, I think I can find other people that want to do a smaller job and kind of get their feet wet and
Mm.
like, you know, give them an opportunity to kind of like jump into this project and I'll just art direct it. And art directing's in certain like in terms of like time, art directing is easier than actually painting everything because you're doing more
Yeah.
like you're guiding the project and like it's not as like I'm not spending hours painting. I'm just like looking over things and giving feedback, and it doesn't take that long. So I was like, well, I can art direct it, and I'll just find some artists that need a job. They needed a job. They want the job, and they're cool with the rates because like like if they're not cool with the rates, then obviously we're not going to work with them. But if they're cool with it, like, oh, I'll do the work for that much. Then it's like, okay, well, we'll hire them for this. It's not they weren't paid great. It wasn't like a wonderful rate. Like so, I understood that. But I was like, if someone's into it, then we'll bring them on and give them the job, and they'll get some experience, and we'll get the art, and they'll get their art in the game. You know, like so they can say they worked on this thing.
Yeah.
That was kind of the whole mentality for it. But then people started messaging and they were like, well, I want to do it. And then like it was on Discord. So they was just like, they were saying, I want to do it. So I clicked on their profile and there was no info in their profile name that linked me to their work or who they were, or like there was no way for me to contact them via the Discord. Like I couldn't go to their website or see their work because they don't have their profile updated. And it's like a simple
Mm.
thing, like your Discord name. If you're going to be messaging people through Discord, you should have your website or Instagram linked in your Discord profile. That way, people can understand what your work looks like.
Mm.
It's a real simple little thing, but like it makes a difference because if someone's going to pick you up from a Discord server and work with you, then you need to make it. You got to make it idiot proof. I think that's the main
Yeah.
thing. You got to make it so idiot proof to find you and hire you that there's no question that people could work with you because like on my website, my email address is on every single page of my website. So whatever page you're on, my email is visible to you no matter what page. And like no one's going to say, "Oh, where do you find his email? How do I contact him?" Like it's on every page of my website. Unless you're not looking actively, there's no way you're not going to see my email. Um,
Mm.
and that was a tip I learned years ago. Like when I first started, I remember someone said, "Have your email on every page of your website. Don't just have it on the contact page. Like make it like idiot proof. Like nobody should be confused about how to contact you because art directors basically they get so busy. If there's any kind of obstacle at all, if there's like, oh, it's kind of hard, it's kind of hard to contact Sharky. I don't know how to get his email address. They're gonna just some are just gonna skip you. They'll be like, oh, never mind. I'm not gonna bother messaging with this guy because I can't even find his email. And like, I got 20 other people who I found their email. And like,
No,
that's yeah,
I have to admit I am definitely guilty of stuff like that. I think like I don't have my own website. I think I use an ArtStation instead
well,
and
our
stuff like
station's
that.
fine too. But like some
Um,
because you can list your contact on your art station, so it's just having that available. Man, I really didn't. Okay, next pose, everyone. Um, yeah, the art station's fine too. It's just as long as you have that email available, or like,
mm,
yeah, like if you have a personal website, that's cool. You just gotta have that email on every page. Like, you just gotta make sure that nobody's confused. Um, that's also something like part of this, like how to be professional video. Part of
yeah, no, I think it is something really, really good, and kind of just bring it down, boil it down to like bullet points of like
yeah,
this, what you need, this is what needs to be done, you know. Because once again, it is a thing just a lot of people would overthink, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
What I was gonna say is that with the how to be professional video, there's also like I work in studio. I've worked in studio for like 10 years now, and like
mm,
so I got like a different background. Like I follow Dave and Dan. They're the ones that like their communities got me to where I am. But I took a very different path than Dave and Dan. Like I've been in studio for 10 years, which is exactly the opposite of what they did. Um, so
oh no, Dan did do a lot of studio work for about a decade as well.
yeah, he did some like I think I think the difference with the studio work. I know he did a stint of studio work for the Transformers thing, but
Yeah.
I was like in office for like a good, well, I guess 8 years. I was in office, like physically going to office every day. Um, and the difference is not really a difference. What I found is when you're in office working in studio, when you're presenting your work, like it's the same thing I said with like making your email available. You got to make your work presentation like idiot proof because you just need
Mm,
to assume that nobody you're all working on the same project, in studio, or most of the part. Sometimes you're not, but for my studio, there's like one project, and so like you're all working on the same project, but like everyone's got their own thing they're doing, and like if you don't give all the context for like what you're drawing or designing and like why you're doing something, people are just gonna see like basically pretty artwork and have no clue what they're looking at. And like you gotta like
yeah.
make everything again idiot proof, where people are like, wait, what is this? Like that's the first question people will ask like in meetings. Like, wait, what are we looking at? and it's all it's all the same project. So obviously, whatever you're looking at is for the same project. But like people just are in their own departments and they have their own worries. And like you're thinking about character design nonstop, but the game designers are thinking about how is this game going to be fun. And that's all they're
Yeah.
thinking about. They don't care what the characters look like, really, because all they want is the game to be fun. If the game's not fun, there's no reason for characters. Like, no one's gonna play it. So, it's this interesting thing, and like I found that I have to really spell things out for people at work, and I gotta always present my work with like a bunch of reference photos and like arrows and text, and I gotta like really say things. Like today, my producer was telling me about something. He was like, I was presenting these items, and he was like, "Why is this? I don't get why this item is different." And like, let me do an example for you. I was showing like pretend I was showing a bunch of dogs, like I were designing a dog, and I showed a picture of a wolf and said it can't be a wolf. Well, my producer was like, I don't see the difference. Like he couldn't he couldn't see the difference between like the dog and the wolf. And I was like, and I looked at him. I was like, you can't tell the visual difference between like a wolf and a dachshund. Like and for him, he was like, I don't see what you're talking about. What's the difference? And I had to like spell it out and like put it in text. I was like, a wolf is different from a dachshund because a dachshund is small and it's shaped like a wiener, and a wolf is like a larger animal with a snout. And like like you gotta say specifically why one thing is one thing and why another thing is not this thing. And like so you gotta really spell it out for people so that
Mm.
your project like so your presentation becomes idiot proof, because if it's not idiot proof, then everyone's going to be confused and they're going to say things like, I don't get, they're all pictures of canines, why am I looking at a bunch of pictures of canines? And you're like,
Yeah.
the context of, well, it's a wolf versus a dog is not there. And then like you just assume people understand that, but no one actually understands it because no one's on your in your brain. Like they don't. It's just it's little things like that where like people don't consider that when they're like, oh, I want to become an artist and get in the industry, and they don't consider like presentation and like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and then like how specifically direct you need to be to get people not confused about stuff. And like I'm sure that Dan and Dave have stories like this where like they've presented something and they had to like
Oh
either
yeah, no, yeah, like definitely, and they've
yeah,
definitely gotten people with very confusing things.
it's just yeah,
Um, like there is one story I think Dan talked about. It was some design house he was working for, where the guy wanted like a T Rex being, like a barbarian girl riding a T Rex, and he's like, oh okay, okay, and he's like, oh, and she has like a minigun, and he's thinking it's like, okay, that's basically Kung Fury kind of thing. It was around that time,
yeah,
and then it was kind of like, oh, can you? She's fighting orcs, and he's like, okay, and it kept on getting more and more. Then there was like cyberpunk raiders and guys like this, and it went from like a barbarian riding a T Rex, which is like fantasy, we can work with that, to like fighting an army of orcs and buggies and stuff like that. And then in the end, it was just a jumbled mess of like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, yeah, and that's like another like there's I say I got to break up all my talking points for this how to be a professional video because there's a bunch of different things to talk about. There's like basic business etiquette, which is like how to compose yourself in meetings. Like if
Mm.
you're in a Zoom session, like what are the things you do and don't do in a Zoom session for work? Like because some people are used to this kind of thing where you and I are on Discord chatting, and like that's one thing. But if you're actually on a work call, on a Zoom call, like how do you actually behave? Because you can't just like I won't name names, but last week we did this whole chatting thing, and we were all chatting, and I remember someone just like burped really loud on mic, and I was like,
Mm.
it was like I don't really care because it's like we're all casual, informal kind of space, but I was kind of like, you couldn't mute your mic for that because like if this is a work thing, work thing is like pretend you're not online, pretend you're just talking to someone right in their face. You just
Yeah.
burped really loud in their face. It would be like you would never do that. You would just be like, "Oh my god, excuse me, I'm so sorry." Like for work stuff, you got to like think of it like, okay, how would I behave in person? In like, what are the things I would not do in person? and you got to like translate that into online space. And so like for work, you always keep your mic muted at all times unless you have something to say. And
Yeah.
that's how I behave at work. Like I never have my mic open. If I sneeze or if I cough or if I burp or anything like that, it's all muted. Like no one will ever know that happened, because even if I get up, like if I'm like, since I have to like do my meetings in the kitchen sometimes because my wife streams. So like even if I have to like get up to like turn on the stove or something, or like I never had to turn on the stove. Let me rephrase that. One time I had the stove on and there was a thing that was going to boil over, and I was in my meeting. Um, what I do is I always turn off my camera, so like nobody can see that I left the desk, because it's
Yeah.
distracting. It's distracting to see someone left, and then you're all like, "Wait, why'd you leave? Like we were having a meeting and you left." Little things like that. Like it was only for a second. I had to like go and turn down the burner because something was about to boil over. But like those little things, little etiquette things like that's important to know. And then like how to compose yourself, and like how to actually structure the meeting. Like if you don't know how to structure a meeting, then you're gonna find yourself stuck in like hour-long meetings, and nobody likes that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been in those where it has been just a meeting that has gone on, and it's been just the repetitiveness of it that drives me insane.
Yeah, yeah,
It's they'll bring up a point, and it's like, cool, that's the point, and then they'll bring it up in another way, and it's to basically kind of fill time and be like, make themselves. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's just when they do it, it's one of the things that drives me insane, and it's like for me, unfortunately, that's like I have to bite my lip at that point because I know I'll snap if like because I'm like, this is your third time explaining the same thing but in a different way,
yeah,
and they'll be like, well, no, I'm actually looking at it from another. It's like, no, you're not. You just don't know what else to do, and you're filling out time. But
yeah, yeah.
this is wasting my time,
That could happen. Like, yeah. Sorry, I just realized the pose is paused, everyone. So I don't know how long we've been going on it. So, we'll do one more pose and call it a night.
Okay.
Um, not this pose. Okay, this one looks good. Okay. Yeah. So I think for us, the way we handle that kind of stuff, like, and I only started doing this because my studio job. It's like before you even have the meeting, you list out your agenda points. Like we're going to talk about like if this were like a work meeting, I'd say um, Mike's going to talk about top three professional points for consideration, and like that would be like my agenda point, whatever. And then it'd be like Mike's going to draw life drawing stuff, whatever. That would never happen in
Yeah.
a meeting, but I'd list out exactly what I want to do for the meeting. What are my goals for the meeting? And then like you would say like Sharky to talk about party planning for Christmas party, and then that would be your agenda point. And then we just go through the points. Be like, okay, Sharky, you want to talk about the party for the Christmas party? You'd be like, yep, and you discuss your points. They're like, Mike, you want to talk about being professional? I'd be like, yep, and I'll discuss my points. And then after everyone's discussed the points, you go, all right, cool, is everything covered? Great, all right, let's move on. And you like literally say, let's move on. Like when you're going past the point, you don't talk about it anymore. And like there's no more rambling. There's no. It's like you just get past it, you move on, and then you. That's how it works. And the meetings are really short. Normally, meetings at my work never go past 30 minutes. And 30
Yeah.
minute meeting is a pretty long meeting. Um, like our morning meetings where the entire company is in the meeting, that only takes 30 minutes normally. And that's like everyone in the company is present. And like it's doable. It cuts down on time for people. And then if something goes long, if you're like Sharky's talking about Christmas party stuff, and you're like, well, guys, I don't know if we should have like a catering guy or if we should just hire a food truck, and everyone gets into a discussion about it. We just say, all right, let's just revisit this later today at 1 o'clock and
Yeah.
discuss food truck versus catering, and it would be like that'd be the only topic you talk about. Go discuss it for like 30 minutes. Like you never like this. I don't know why I made you the party planning guy in this example, but you would just move on and like you put a what do you call it? Put a pin in it. And you just talk about
Yeah.
it later. And then like what I found out when I was doing freelance is that I hadn't been doing freelance since like 2020, and it was around 2021 or 2022. I basically took like almost a year off of doing freelance, and got contacted by this person that wanted to work with me, and they were like, um, "I want to have a meeting with you and the graphic designer to go over this book," and I was like, "All right." And then like I was still like new to freelance again, so I wasn't thinking about it like work. I was thinking about it like something else. I was like, okay, this is freelance, it's different. And then we had the meeting, and my client proceeded to talk to the graphic designer for like
Mm.
probably 30 to 40 minutes without needing me to say anything. And like almost the entire meeting, it almost went on for like an hour, was him talking to the graphic designer. And at the end of it, like he was like, "Do you have anything you need, Mike?" And I was like, "Just tell me the dimensions for the drawing. That's all I need." And they're like, "Okay." And that was it. Like my whole contribution to the meeting was like one sentence.
Yeah.
And like I realized like this, I didn't have to be in this meeting at all. Like I was like basically wasting my Friday afternoon sitting in this meeting for no reason. And that's when I started dawned on me. I was like, oh, like sometimes sometimes smaller clients that aren't part of big companies, they don't know how to run meetings because they've never done it before. Like they've never needed to do this. And like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
it's a weird thing that they don't really teach that stuff in, like, management courses or anything like that. And it is sometimes you just get people, they get thrusted into a management position and they're just kind of like, this is like, why am I manager? Because, oh, you're really good at the thing you're doing and we need a manager, so you're in charge there. When they realize
yeah,
that it is another thing where managerial thing is a completely different,
it's a different job.
uh, it's a different job and it's a whole different set of things to do. A lot of people think a manager is just a person who does what you're doing, but is quite good at it. And from 90% of managers I worked with, that is not true.
Yeah,
Managers are there to manage people, not to be better at what you do, or even to be like, to be better at what you do or anything like that. It is just a wild one. But it is, I guess, a belief that people do have that, like, oh, but it's exactly like this. You're like, it's not quite.
yeah. That's what I realized, and I was like, so for me, after that meeting, we had another meeting coming up, and I started just treating it like my day job, and I was like, what are? He was like, hey, can we meet on like Tuesday? And I was like, yeah. What's the agenda? Like, I started asking that question, like, what's the agenda for this meeting? Because like, I need to know what we're talking about, and if it's even relevant, that I'm here. Like otherwise, why am I here? And you
Yeah.
gotta like, it's double sided. You got to ask for the agenda, but then you've got to give your points. So you'd be like, what's the agenda? I want to talk about this, and you just say your point. And like, if you don't give your points, and you're in the same, like, it's your bad if you don't give your points.
Yeah, because like one of the last jobs I had, it was just like kind of customer service job, something to pay the bills.
Yeah,
And we used to have it was planned that I think it was at the end of every day. It used to be every day, and then they changed it. But at the end of the day, it was a half-hour meeting every day.
yeah,
So we finished at 5:30. So at 5 o'clock on the dot, 30-minute meeting to go over what was going on, news coming up, all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, that's fine. And the way you kind of treat it was like, in all honesty, this is just kind of like like the last half hour off work, basically.
yeah,
But there was one person in particular who would try to extend the meetings every single time by asking the most weirdest questions, just because they were kind of like, oh, but we get to extend out the work day and everything. And it's like, this is more time off work, when they really didn't realize, it's like, well, we finished work. You're just making us stay at work longer.
yeah, yeah,
And it's that kind of thing that you will just come across people who are like, I think about, like, in the first like month, the manager's kind of like, oh, this person must not be like working well with the system, or something must be up with them. And then you realize, oh, no, no, this person for one likes the voice, likes the sound of their own voice, and two is just trying to spread out whatever we're doing. You know?
That's like I think once you start working with like a company, or especially if you're in office,
Yeah.
it's really big if you're in office. If if you're in office and you have a meeting during the day, it's okay if someone's like, I mean, it's kind of annoying, but it's okay if someone's like, maybe they ramble a little bit during the day and you kind of eats up some of your time. You're like, okay, they kind of rambled. Get back to work. Do my work. But if it's like the last meeting of the day and someone starts rambling or like asking a bunch of these questions that they should have asked earlier in the day, or like, and it becomes like when it's the last meeting of the day, you're just keeping everyone from going home, and like that
Yeah.
people start resenting that. They're like okay, I want to go home now. Like now you're making this meeting last forever, and I don't want to be here. And like
Yeah.
even if like that's the other thing about being a professional. Like what people don't realize when you like you get the job, right? You're working in video games or you're working in film and you're working in studio. It's still a job, and like at the end of the day, you want to go home. Like you don't you don't want to stay there all day long
Oh yeah,
doing
yeah,
the
one hundred
job.
percent. Like yeah, because like I hear crazy things. Like I heard recently how the Family Guy team works.
Yeah,
The guys who make Guy, how they work, and they are a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday operation only.
yeah, yeah,
You know, if you don't get your work done by 5 o'clock on Friday, it's there for you Monday.
yeah,
And I'm like, I've never ever heard of a studio that's worked like that. You know,
yeah,
it is just insane to be like, wait, wait, wait. So you just pack up what you're doing and you go home and that's it. Like I used to work in a video game studio, like an indie video game studio,
yeah,
and that was a case of like, yeah, we finished at 6. Like when I say finish at 6, like we're finishing the building at 6. We have to lock it up for security, you know.
yeah,
But we would most likely we would be going home to do X, Y, and Z. Like we would like the job didn't finish at 6. It was just the office time finished at 6. You know.
yeah, yeah. That's like the way it works at my company. My producer, when we schedule things out for the month, my producer has a meeting with me, and he'll be like, "Okay, I want to get this amount of work done." He'll say like, let's say like I'm just gonna make up terms. You're like, I want to get through one whole level by the end of the month, and I'll be like, okay, and then he'll be like, he'll ask me like, what do you think you can do this month? And like I'll say, well, I can get the mountain zone done, and I think I can maybe knock out the fire pit zone, and like the marble zone. Like I could do all those this month. You know, we'll do 1 week on the mountain zone, 1 week on the marble zone, 1 week on the green hill zone. And he'll be like, okay, like it sounds. Do you can get like you can maybe get like ten pieces done a day for each of these zones for each week, and I'll be like, yeah, I think so. Well, sometimes I'll tell him, I'll be like, you know, I don't think I'll be able to get that much work done. I think it's like a lot of, like what you're asking me for is like a lot of painting that you don't realize how long it's going to take me. So
Hmm.
I'm only going to be able to get like two things done. And you'll be okay. And I tell him like how much work I think I can get done, and then the schedule is built around that. So if for some reason I have to work late, it's normally because I didn't estimate my time right. It's not because they made me do.
Yeah.
That's my company though. Some I know lots of companies have like big crunch time, and it's I don't think it's the same. Like for a big company, it's a little bit different because big companies they have like expectations from artists, so they'll be like, well, we expect you to get like 10 options done a day or something, and then they'll be like,
Yeah,
you know,
there's a lot of issue with that, and like crunch has become such kind of like a dirty word. I would guess,
yeah,
which it is because like you've seen so many like when you look at companies like CD Project Red, just because I think they're the biggest example really. When they did crunch time for like they were doing crunch time for The Witcher 3, I believe,
yeah,
and then they went straight into crunch time for Cyberpunk, and that was like basically it was a year of crunch time for The Witcher 3, and then it was like 3 years of crunch time constantly for um, Cyberpunk 2077, and that was because like they released a trailer for Cyberpunk 2077 like 2013. It
yeah,
was 2017, and they're like, "Oh, we have to release this game at some point," and someone said, "Well, we have to start it first," kind of thing. So they were like, okay, so we have to make this huge game in 3 years, and it was crunch, and it was an unfortunate factor that people lost their marriages over it. People, uh, like got their health declared and stuff like that. So that's why like crunch time, and it is crunch time is like on occasion, yes, crunch time can be helpful, but like if it's constant and stuff like that, it is very 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 horrible,
Yeah, yeah. I
and it's very
think yeah, I think we used to do crunch. I used to work as a production designer for a haunted house,
mm,
and we always did a crunch time because we worked year round on the sets. We'd like start basically we started working on sets in January, and we'd work every month like just to get the sets done and build them out, paint them, set decorate them, make all the props, put all the props in place, do all the lighting. And every year, the day before we opened, it was like maybe two or three all nighters, like just
mm,
to make sure we got everything finished. And like I remember one year was like we were like the sets were drying like hours before people were walking through it.
yeah,
And like it was like there was just we had to do the crunch because there would be no event like there would be no room for people to walk into in the event, like
yeah,
it's different because it's during Halloween season, and that's it. Like it starts during September. You can't delay it. Like the Halloween comes every year at the same time. There's no way to like delay that start time. And we always did a crunch right before we opened, and it was always like my boss would rent like a hotel nearby, and we just go sleep for like 3 or 4 hours
mm,
just to get some kind of sleep and get back to work. And then we had to be open from 7 to midnight that first night. So we'd be working all day, all night for like 3 days, and then we'd be open, and we'd actually have to be like up from like 7 to midnight, and we wouldn't be really wrapped up until like like by the time we're actually done, we're like done at like 12:30, and then 1 in the morning, and so it was always a crazy. It was the same every year, and so I was used to the crunch time before I went to the games industry. But I've only had to crunch a few times at my job. It was like, and normally they were for like pitch documents. Like we had to like send out a pitch document to a client to like try and win a game pitch, and like we, it would be like this is due tomorrow, and it'd be like oh shit, like we gotta like really knock this out, like before tomorrow.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. From years of doing like conventions like an artist alley artist and stuff like that, you get a lot of stuff like that of like you're like, hey, I'm gonna give myself like 2 3 months to get these prints, stickers, whatever other merch I want to get done, but it's 2 weeks before the convention. You're kind of like, but what if I do this and next you haven't slept in a week, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly yeah. Yeah, I need to write all my points down. I started writing out some of the points for the
Mm.
be a professional thing. I gotta like write them out at separate times because they come to me at certain times. I'm like, oh wait, what about this? Like,
Yeah, no, I think for something
yeah,
like this, you definitely got to sit down and make a script
yeah,
and run through it 2 or 3 times to see like what's the flow like. Are people going to stay pay attention 5, 10, 15 minutes into this, or are they just going to glaze over and just kind of like skip to like whatever, like the bullet points or
yeah.
something like
I'm
that.
thinking the way we do it is like we like what was it? Gross Girl said that they do like a she did like a workshop at other Discord where they would do them. But like we do a workshop where I got the talking points and I got like a presentation ready to go,
Yeah.
and I run through the whole presentation like on a stream or on a Zoom call. I don't know if a stream would be best or if a Zoom call would be best, but like we do it open like where we some way or another we present the actual thing to people live if they want to watch it live. And
Mm.
then if they are there live and they listen to the whole thing, we do a question at the end where people can ask specific questions, and then we just give information based on our personal experience. Be like, okay, this is what this has happened to me, and it's not like necessarily the truth for everyone. But in my
Yeah.
experience, this is what had happened, and like we do a question and answer at the end, and then that's it. We wrap it up after that. But basically, a full presentation plus a question and answer. I think that'll be good for people. And then we just throw it online somewhere, so if anyone who missed it can like review it later and be like, "Oh, sick! I didn't realize this thing was a thing."
Yeah,
And like, yeah,
yeah, no, that could definitely work. But I definitely think you should have like a maybe a more streamlined one where you just kind of get through with the points as well, like a presentation as well. Like the presentation with a stream and people kick in, that is definitely helpful. But I think you do also would need a kind of a version of like this is just the points, because like
yeah.
some people would be like just because as you're saying here, I do think it's something good to have out there for people, you know.
Maybe the thing is we record it. You know how on YouTube you could like break up the video into specific parts, like where people could skip around the video and it has like the
Yeah.
titles. Maybe we do the presentation live, and live is what it is. It's like it's a live session, and then people can ask questions, and then when we upload it to YouTube, go through the segments, break it up, name each segment. So if someone wants to skip to certain points, they could just skip over to the points and just listen, and not have to listen to the
Mm.
entire thing. That might be a way to do it. And then
I
also
definitely think it could be
release
useful.
the presentation online too.
Yeah, I think it is something you just need to kind of write down and do a breakdown on what's what, and
Yeah,
maybe go through it like 3 or 4 times. And
yeah,
once again, asking someone like Gross to kind of like, hey, what do you think of this? Because they do have experience in doing presentations and everything else like that, so it would
yeah,
be quite good to have their kind of experience on hand because they taught as well, so they have a way of explaining things to people as well, which is always a helpful thing to know.
yeah. I want to run everything through people before we do the public. I did this at work. We used to do these things at work. There were like these educational seminars. Like every other Friday, there was like an educational seminar, and I gave one on I gave one on I think mental illness. I'm
Mm.
bipolar type one, so like I wanted to give a talk on mental illness because I was like, okay, well I'm bipolar. I want to give people like an explanation of what that means. And then like what we do, I put together the presentation, but before I presented it, I sent it to a couple of my coworkers, and I was like, just read through this, please, and just let me know if any of this makes sense. If there's something I need to elaborate on. I think doing that with like Gross Grill, maybe I want to get your opinion on it before we do it, and like get the feedback from the general public, thoughts,
Uh,
feelings.
I think
Oh, hey,
the
what's up, man?
topic. How's it going?
I thought that
I
was
think
Sharky for a second. I was like, your voice changed completely.
yeah, I was here the entire time. Honestly, I was here like when Sharky mentioned like crunch and like how it just how it just destroyed how it kind of like it has a tendency to basically destroy marriages.
Oh
And
yeah,
like in the back of my mind, I was just like I was thinking it's like what was that like, being sitting next to that guy? Like I could just imagine Miguel just like trying to get a concept done, and then basically a concept artist is in the background. It's like, hey, but like I can't. So I'm not. It's like he's like, so I'm not allowed to see the kids anymore. Really, like that. And then just it's like he just goes through a breakdown, like in studio.
Yeah, no, apparently that's like what it was like nearly every day with CD Project Red, where people were kind of like, yeah, we're just kind of like they're just there, like you're there drawing like whatever in The Witcher, and then suddenly you hear some guy like just kind of like having a freak out in the background, kind of like what the fuck is going on?
that's crazy. I have a former coworker that went to work there.
It's like
Like I've heard they've dramatically changed the way they've done it,
yeah,
because of so much of all the bad press they got and the kind of like I think it's a weird thing where like CD Projekt Red is a huge business in Poland.
Yeah,
So if you really want to work on something like that, that's where you go. So it always kind of it's one of those kind of weird cases of like, well, we could always replace you, and then they realize it's like, oh, but we're replacing people with like a
oh,
decade or 5 or 6 years of knowing how to work exactly our style, and
Th-
maybe that's
yeah,
how we've
that's
kind of made a mistake with this, you know.
But
that's
no shit, you know, it's like replacing people with talent.
yeah, yeah, and like it was like the same thing I talked about with the skill set thing, like
Mm.
hiring someone that's brand new into an office job or like a studio job or like this is why most of the time people that are brand new into freelance don't get a giant contract right off the bat because like you're not a proven entity and
Yeah,
it's like how can I trust you to do like for like Dave does with Diablo, like how can I trust you to do these season card updates that are needed every few months we have to have these and they're going to be presented to like the entire public that plays Diablo. Like,
yeah,
and I need to trust that someone's going to get this done. And like, it's like, do I hire, like, even me? But do I hire Miguel Coronado who has no proven track record that he could do this, or do I hire
yeah,
someone like Dave Raposa who's like done like the Wolverine poster? It's just like it's just a different. Is that kind of like you got to build up that status in
Yeah.
terms of like your deliverability? You know, like what can you deliver on? That's what when I did the freelance when I was doing the art direction job for one of the projects I'm on. Um, we hired this artist who's like worked on Daggerheart, you know that RPG
yeah.
game. He's got this amazing work, and it was like my client was like, "We think we should hire him," and I was like, "It looks like he does amazing work." And I was like, "So yeah, I think if he works on Daggerheart and delivers this really quality work, I would love to work with him." And it was just kind of like once you see certain like that's kind of like people talk about the freelance ladder. You work your way up. Like there's certain jobs you get that like kind of prove yourself to like you could deliver on these things. Um, and like we were talking. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent. It's hard to hire new people that've never done things before, and for multiple
Yes.
reasons. Like they don't know the pipeline. They don't know how to even operate in a studio. Sometimes like some people don't even understand how. Like I was saying, how to even like hold themselves in like a meeting. Like that's like
Hmm.
a big deal. You start realizing certain people like have never worked in an office job. Like I was the same way when I first got my job. I had never worked in an office job before, so like I did a bunch of things that like sorry, I gotta hide my screen real quick. Um, I did a bunch of things that like I would never do now. Like we were having a meeting. My famous story is we're having a meeting at Disney, and I was drawing naked witches on my sketch pad
You were saying,
during the
yeah.
meeting, and like my boss was looking over at me at the time and was like, "What are you drawing?" And I was like, "Oh, just whatever," because like I just wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, we're in like this major client place, and I was just like basically doing what I normally do, but like in the context of where we were at, like it was not appropriate. I would never do that now, but like I didn't know any better at the time, and a lot of artists are like that. They just don't know any better. They don't know what not to say in a meeting setting, um, or like what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
Yeah. Especially in situations like that, you know, because like it is kind of a mindset. It's like, well, I'm an artist. They want me to draw. Like this is fine, and then someone's like, no.
Yeah,
But I've kind of been in that situation once or twice as well. Um, but that's mostly kind of do with office work, and
yeah, yeah,
when I say office work, I mean like working for customer services or something like that. You're just kind of like doodling during the meeting, and people's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm doing this." Like, and it's a weird thing in an office mentality. Like, that's so fucking cool, and you're like, "Thanks," and it's like, that's it, because the meeting's usually like that's usually a meeting of something like it's like, "Well, our reports went up 27% this year," and you're kind of like, "Cool, this means nothing to me." How
yeah,
does this affect my work? No way. It's just some manager trying to show off something or something
This could
or
have been
other.
an email.
Yeah, this could have been email, but the thing is, I get a half hour off the phone, so I'm happy enough.
yeah, yeah. That's
But I can understand those situations where it is like, this is your craft, this is what you're doing, and then someone's like, you know,
I think
yeah, yeah, it's definitely something to put into consideration.
what are you saying,
I,
Jacobo?
it's like big well, I think I at one point in college,
Yeah.
I was essentially on like this like drawing like a character that I had in my mind, and then basically it's like I was really into Kim Jong Gi at the time, and Kim Jong Gi draws a lot of a lot of inappropriate stuff, and I
Hmm.
thought, hey, it's like
I got a book on it.
I, yeah, you got a book on it, and it's like, hey, it's like it's an art school. I don't really think it matters, you know. Let's just draw this character, you know, having quality time with his female partner. I did that, and I mean, I didn't get in trouble, but it's like when it came to like making friends with any of the students, yeah, it you know it kind of hampered my chances. So
Well, I had
you know,
I mean, I'm not. I'm very much. I'm pro. I'm pro artistic nudity and like general nudity. I'm like against. I mean, obviously, explicit stuff should be probably explicit stuff you should probably censor for most public, but like just nudity in general is fine. I think people overreact too much about it. Um,
Yeah.
like when I draw I've drawn like a if I do a figure study, if it's a topless woman, like it shouldn't be such a like a taboo to have like nipples showing. Like I feel like that's silly. It becomes
Mm.
like overreaction. Um, but on the flip side, I've had an artist come to me before, and they had this like portfolio piece, and the person was nude in the portfolio piece. There was a character design. They were like completely nude, and they had like all the details. Like it was like a naked character, and I was like, I don't mind seeing that personally, but is there a specific reason for this design that they would need to be completely nude, like in detail, like you could draw like a nude form where it's like almost like a mannequin, like to showcase body type. Like they do that all the time in art books where it's like the nude form, it's like smoothed over just to showcase body type. And I understand that. But if you're trying to show all the details of a human body, you got to have a real specific reason why you're doing it. Like, is it because you think this is beautiful and you want to showcase it, or if you're like a classical sculptor, you're trying to capture everything, or like is there a specific reason for this character design that it needs to be anatomically correct for this portfolio piece? Because it'll turn people off, and like lots of people they'll just see it and go like, oh, why is this naked? Like, and I think it's a little prudish personally, but like you still got to consider what most people will think, and it's just one
and
of
also
those things. Yeah.
when it comes to like finding jobs, this market for example like say if you want to work for like a children's company,
Yeah.
like say
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, like
Yeah.
like you're like you can't just show that to a children's company because like it's
Yeah. Exactly. That's
that like it's like this doesn't exactly match the brand of what you're gonna do here.
yeah. That's also very much like you hit the nail on the head. Like if you're going for like I want to work at like Pixar and you just have a bunch of like very detailed nude figures. Unless it's like in a study section of your portfolio where it's like these are all my studies, which is weird to have in a portfolio. Like I wouldn't even have that, but like it'd be a little weird to see if it's your personal work and it was separate from your professional portfolio. I think that's different because I know like Alberto Mielgo, the guy that like did lots of the designs for Love Death Robots, and then like he did one of the original Spider Verse like style pitches. He's got a bunch of like nude models that he paints in oils. Like that's like one of his things he does. It's like these nude women in oils, and like he does like exclusively that for some of these paintings. But his professional portfolio is different from just the nude women in oil, and he still was working on Sony Pictures animation stuff. So like it could be. I think there's a level of understanding from artist to artist. Like if you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're doing life drawing, I get it. Whatever, like you're studying and practicing anatomy. I understand it. Like we all do it. Only non-artists think it's weird that you go to a place and stare at naked people for drawing. You know, only non-artists think that. Like my grandma was like, I told her I was going to life drawing. She was like, "Are they naked?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course they're naked." And she was just like, "I don't know about that." And I was like, "That's literally what artists have been doing for centuries." I was like, "It's normal. It's fine." But yeah, my grandma's an old Mexican woman though, so she wouldn't understand.
It's got that Catholicism in them, you know.
Definitely. And
Everyone's really coming
if you ever talk to her, I have it too. So don't say otherwise.
Yeah, it's the same thing as I was on to another artist. I don't know if you know him, Crom. He's an artist who does a lot of like lewd stuff. Crom. He's an amazing artist. One of my favorite artists out of the moment, and he's from Mexico. And he was saying it's like when it comes to certain things, like there is kind of an Irish Mexican crossover, and it's like one of the things is definitely like mothers and like parents of like it's like, oh no, that's not very Catholic, and they're kind of like it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's the kind of thing of that they have the kind of same kind of thought ideas of it.
Yeah, definitely. There's a bunch of shame associated with Catholicism too. You shouldn't be thinking these shameful thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I kind of it's like I kind of came up in a Catholic family. I still believe in God, but it's like it's like I think I don't know. It's kind of like kind of weird. It's like we have to be ashamed a bit, like a bit ashamed. Like I understand, like we have to be like to essentially to not talk about it. It's it's like I understand time and place, but at the same time, it's like it's like we didn't just it's like weren't just willed into existence.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a denying the reality of life. That yeah, it's always part of it. Anyone watching on stream, we're done with figure drawing. Just want to let you know. It's about
I came in
nine.
very late.
It's about no. It's okay. Well, I mean, we're chatting on chat. It's different. It's about 9:30 here. Let me just actually I close the. Here are the drawings from the stream. If you wanted to see, they're here. I'm going to post them on the Discord. Thank you for joining on stream. For y'all in chat, I'll probably stay on the voice chat, but I'm going to stop the stream. So feel free to hang out because I got to do some freelance work. But thank you for joining a stream, everyone. And if you're interested in this, it's not my Discord, so you got to find Dan Warren's Discord. And I don't really want to do my own, so I'd rather be on theirs. But we're on the Discord and the voice chat. You feel free to join. You come on our chat. We'll link you in the future. We're here. I'm doing it every Tuesday. So every Tuesday. Thanks again. Have a great